A Hunting We Will Go is a Betty Boop Fleischer Studios cartoon from 1932. This is directed by Dave Fleischer and Al Euxner, and we have a voice cast including Anne Little as Betty Boop and Billy Murray as Bimbo. And this one's quite interesting, and I will explain why in a moment. It starts off with Betty Boop singing about fur. So Coco, a really great team, I think they're so great together. They go off and strip the animals of their fur, which I have to say was an approach I quite liked. Because I hate films about hunting, anything that supports animal fur, I hate it. But I like the fact that they didn't go out and kill the animals and take their fur. They were just, in a very cartoon style, taking the fur as if they were wearing coats. Which I thought, if you're going to do a film about taking animal fur, that's the funny way to do it. I don't necessarily find it to be that funny, but I preferred that rather than them potentially killing the animals, which is, again, interesting, and I'll come back to that in a moment. And Coco and Bimbo return to Betty Boop, delighted with the pile of fur that they've gathered, and Betty Boop comes out of the house and chastises them. And she said that they shouldn't have done that. And she begins to hand the fur coats back to the animals, who put their coats back on and wear their fur again. And I thought it was quite cute. Some of the animal designs are a bit bizarre. There were times when I was trying to work out what animal I was actually looking at. The character designs are not the strongest, but I feel like maybe that's what they were going for, so I can't really fault it very much. And I think it has a really brilliant message. We have some really good music, good enough animation, and the animals look interesting. And obviously we have a really important message. As Betty Boop says, they shouldn't have taken the fur from the animals. Absolutely fantastic. It turns out that 5 years later, they decided to no longer support that message. Because in the 1937 Betty Boop cartoon, Pudgy Picks a Fight, Betty Boop is wearing animal fur. The animal is very dead, and Pudgy is very distraught by this. And that cartoon never really seemed to suggest that that was a bad thing. So clearly at some point, either Fleischer Studios or Betty Boop herself decided that actually she was in support of animal fur. Maybe it's only certain animals, who knows. But certainly at this point, they were saying that that's not a great thing to do. And I really like that. And as I said, if they are going to do a film, a story about animal fur, not having to kill the animals to tell that story was the right approach. So I was impressed, based on the fact that the 1937 Pudgy Picks a Fight was diabolical. I wasn't expecting this to go the way it did. And I was very pleasantly surprised by that. Also surprised that it came 5 years before what definitely seems like a pro-fur cartoon. So quite interesting in that regard, but certainly on its own, a great message with some decent animation, a nice song from Betty Boop. As well, A Hunting We Will Go is ultimately not a bad Betty Boop cartoon, and I'm happy to recommend it.